The performance in Glasgow, especially after the first, I mean, you know, your fights in Invicta, you stamped on people, you know, and it looked like for the first couple of UFC fights that wasn't quite there until Glasgow, and then you did. I think she hit you and you went. It was almost like, you're gonna hit me in front of my fans. Was there a point where you felt that perhaps the killer instinct had gone, or did you know it was always there, you just couldn't get it out?
Yeah, and that's what Guy Ramsey said to me, you know, for this fight you just need to find the fighter in you, and I did have to, because I was going through so much before that fight, and it helped me, and that's what I just went out there, and because I was so close to giving up and pulling out that fight, and I was like, do you know what, this is what I do, and I'm going to go out there, and the only way I'm going out of that fight is if she's knocking me out. And I just went out there and slugged it out, and yeah, that's what, like, I was watching back in my Muay Thai fights and stuff, and it was what I was like. So I think just like with my relationship with James, I was just unhappy, and I think that maybe, I'm not making excuses of that, but you know, now I'm a lot happier, he's a lot happier, so maybe.
Well, you know, it's horrible to say, but again, watching you here, watching the performance in Glasgow, that was the Joe Calderwood, and the Sweden was a blip. But when you look at that fight now, you know, when the loss sucks, but
still not watched it.
Is that going to be the moment that you go, I am never putting myself in that position again? They're going to have to. I'm not going to go there with my head not right. You said I gave her the arm.
Yep.
Is that ever going to happen again?
No. And you know, that wasn't just. There was so many things going on, and I should have not have been in that position. There was like signs, but the fighter that I was like, I'm not giving up, I'm still doing the fight, blah blah, I'm going to do it. But whereas now, like, I've took a step back and I'm sorting my stuff out, and I don't want to let my fans down, I don't want to let myself down, my family, you know, I put my mum through hell. And she's like, so I'm never going to do it for that factor, like her and the family and me and the fans.
You're going to take a little bit of time now, I presume, we haven't gotten a fight exclusive, have we? Have you got anything lined up? Something coming? Maybe? In the near future, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. I've took a few months off and just been working on stuff and getting back into a routine and finding where my head is at and where I want to train and all this grown-ups shit.
so Bad Mofo Jojo fans can expect perhaps you're going to compete one more time this year, at least?
Yeah, I'm going to the end of the year or start of next year.
And, you know, again, the Joe we saw fight in Glasgow, that's the Joe that, you know, that's not a problem. That's the Joe that I think fans expect to be JJ.
Yeah.
You know, the other does a really hard time. Looking at Jedrzejczyk, I said it right. Yeah, looking at her and sort of where she's come from. Now the UFC champion. How hungry does that make you? She's living. Looks like she's been looked after pretty good with that belt around her waist. You've said it's never really about titles in the past, but surely that means that's what you want.
Like before the Scottish fight, I seen her fight with Jessica Penn, and that made me really hungry. It helped me a lot, and I was like, I want that fight, and I just need to get my head right and get in there and bite down my gum shield like what I do.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Beck Rollins for a little while, and you know, she was quite sort of loud on social media and what have you. Is that a fight that you would relish? Is that the sort of opponent that gets you closer to the title, or do you want somebody a little higher up the rankings? In a perfect world. I
don't know, like UFC just they know, like, but I just fight whoever they give me. I don't know who would get me closer. I just know that each fight will get me closer, and as long as I win and perform, then that's all I can do.
You know, realistically, can't be many more than, even in a worst case scenario, you're probably looking at 3 for a title shot. I know you say, and all fighters do, and I'm going to push this time. There's got to be somebody you want it, somebody that you go, I'd love to get in there and just and smash it up with you. Whether it's because you don't like them, whether it's because they've got a skill set you want, but what would make, in a perfect world, if you could make the fights for Joe Calderwood, what would be the one that's most fan friendly and makes most sense to you? Give me their name.
Joanna.
That's it. Awesome. Okay.
Because I just know it's going to be a good fight, and she's obviously got what I want, and but she's.
Is there anybody else other than you that can beat her? Because she looks good. I mean, she looks violent, and that's always makes for an exciting fight. But she looks like she wants to hurt you every time she hits you, and I'm sure Carla would back that up. What is it about her that makes her? Is there anybody who can beat her except you?
I mean, it's MMA. It's unpredictable, and you just don't know what could happen. So, it could be someone could be a easy underdog. You know. You don't know, but I can't see it any time soon, especially before I get my I've got another, like you said, maybe 3 fights. So
well, they have, the UFC have a habit of coming back to a city sort of yearly.
Yeah.
3 fights before next August, and
One's done. You need
2 more, and bing, you could have a title fight in Glasgow, main event.
I think that was the plan all along.
I stayed away from that question because I didn't. I'm not trying to dig, but surely was that a title fight? Is that another reason that you sort of kicked yourself a little bit? That loss at Sweden probably cost you a main event.
I wouldn't say that. Things happen for a reason, and I think the thing that kicked me was the tough house. I went in there and was number 2 seated. Obviously that does not matter, but at the same time, under the circumstances, I was never number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And
if you were going in, if it happened now, if it was tough tomorrow, do you honestly in your head go, if it was tomorrow, I see that playing out different? Do you think it would have been a different experience? I suppose I'm asking you to imagine what if, but
yeah, because there was a lot of negativity around my life at that time, and I did go into it thinking, this is going to be a hellish blah blah blah, and now I think if I could change anything, I would just go in and try, and I know I would not like it this time, but I'd probably try not hate it.
I'm gonna ask one more question and then pull it back right to the beginning. How bright is the future for Scottish MMA with people like yourself and Steve and Robert leading the way on the biggest stage there is, with the fight teams that you've got coming up? How bright is the future for Scottish MMA?
Very bright. I'm training with some of the amateur guys, and they're training harder than us, and that's when you're you want these guys around you, and you want these guys to follow in your footsteps, and you want.
I'm going to interrupt you. I've asked a couple of the coaches this as well, and I know they're loath to give names, but are there some names that we need, that we need to keep an ear out for? These amateurs that are going to smash it up when they go pro, or these debuting pros. Do you see that here? Do you see future UFC competitors, maybe even champions, amongst the people that have started to come in?
Yeah, and that's not me being biased. That's me seeing them training next to me, and they're so I get motivated off of watching them training, as well as the way they act outside of the gym and stuff. There's too many to mention as well, but I think there's a lot more. There's the group's getting bigger.
Yeah, we saw a training session yesterday with 30 people on the mat, and more than 80% of them are on the fight team. I mean, that's crazy. We don't see that at, we go to a UK gym and we go all over, maybe 4 or 5 pros. 30 in one room?
Our sparring sessions are better than the fight shows sometimes.